Today on Cooking Creative, we are going to learn how to make sugar cookies.
This is the sister that's a nudge.
This is the sister who always does this. Here's what you need to make sugar cookies. 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of sour milk or buttermilk, 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of baking soda.
Teaspoons.
1 teaspoon of baking powder. Sorry, I thought it's a tablespoon.
And about 4 cups of flour. I like to use a stand mixer. You can use a regular mixer too, but I like to use a stand mixer. And the first thing we do is put the butter in and cream the butter. So after the butter is in and creamed, you add how many cups of sugar, Bells? 2 cups of sugar.
2 cups of sugar.
2 cups of sugar and cream it again. So this is the 2 cups of sugar, and you just incorporate it into the butter. Mix that around real good. Scrape down any butter that's up on the sides of your bowl. Is 1 cup of buttermilk. We like to use buttermilk. You can also use regular milk that has gone sour, though I like to just buy the buttermilk and use that. And you incorporate that into your mixture, and it will kind of look a little curdled, and that's what that would be normal. Show you here what happens. So everything starts to kind of separate once you add that buttermilk in and look a little curdled, and that is what it's supposed to look like. Next up into the mixture is 3 eggs, and some people like to have them at room temperature. I'm not religious about that, so these guys are sweating a little bit, but 3 eggs, and then incorporate those into the mixture as well. Next you do 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and you have to dissolve this in hot water. So you just add maybe a tablespoon or 2 of hot water to that, really nice hot water, to dissolve the baking soda, and then you'll incorporate that into your mixture as well. Next you add a teaspoon of baking powder in, and you'll incorporate that as well. So there's the baking powder. Next step is adding 4 cups of flour to the mixture. So I like to put in 2 cups of flour, mix, and then add the next 2 and mix again. So then you get a total of 4, but put it in half at a time. So there it is. Here's the second 2 cups of flour. And the dough should be thick and smooth. This is what the dough looks like once all the ingredients are mixed in. And you'll want to cover the bowl and stick it in the refrigerator for at least 12 hours before you try and handle it. Overnight is really best because then it has the longest opportunity to chill. Okay, so we've taken the dough out of the refrigerator, and we're going to scoop about, a little dollop. This one's a little small, actually. Little dollop, and you just work it around in your hands a little bit, not too much. You don't want to handle the dough too much. And then stick your ball in the flour. Just kind of whirl the bowl around to coat the ball. Again, you don't want to handle it too much. And then you just kind of, spin it between your 2 hands to knock some of the flour off, so you see what it looks like. And then you flatten it a little bit on the top so that the sugar will stick. And then I like to do 3 rows of 3 with my cookies. So then that's how you get them ready to go in the oven. So to bake the cookies, you definitely want to use a either parchment paper in a baking sheet or a Silpat, which I use a Silpat, and if your baking sheet has just come out of the oven, you want to stick it in the freezer before you put cookies back on it, so that you can cool it down and be putting the cookies on a cooled cookie sheet. Okay, so you want to stick the formed cookies onto a baking sheet and just sprinkle the top with cinnamon and sugar. And it seems like the cinnamon and sugar falls off everywhere, and that is kind of what it does. You just have to do your best to kind of get it on there. I don't like to put 12 cookies on a sheet. I like to put 9, because when they spread out, then they don't kind of goop into each other. So figure out how big your cookies are, and you know how far they spread out, and go from there. Whether you do 9 or 12 at a time or more is up to you. Now, getting the cinnamon sugar on top of these things is a little tricky. You can use a shaker, but what I like to do is put a little bowl of it together, and then kind of flatten your cookie on the top side and just sprinkle the cinnamon sugar kind of in a little bit of a mound on top of it. Not sure if you can see that. So see how it's a little flat, and then you just mound the cinnamon sugar on top. Otherwise, I'll show you what kind of happens. See that guy in the back there? The cinnamon sugar kind of starts to, if there's too much on the pan, starts to ooze out the side and burn. So you don't want that to happen. So flatten them a little on the top and just try and sprinkle the cinnamon sugar on top. Cookies at 350 for 10 to 15 minutes, and you just have to see, just keep watching them, and as they puff up nice, you want them to be fully puffed up and kind of spongy to the touch. This is the finished product.